welcome to the Entrepreneurs Empowerment Experience. It's great to have you all here today. My name is Andy P. Jones. I'm a business owner and entrepreneur in the UK. I've got 9 children altogether. I've spent 25 years in the alternative education sector. And I first heard of lifelong learning, which is our subject today, in the mid-1990s, while I was still at university. I hadn't even finished my first lot of learning yet. And I was expecting my eldest daughter at the time. Over the last 30 years, I've run numerous businesses. I've had a fair share of ups and downs, both professionally and personally in that time. And as I've had to start again more than once, the one constant that always remains true is the need to learn, the need to develop new skills, the need to adapt, the need to change and keep moving forward. And that is what my subject is about. So I am speaking about lifelong learning today and the benefits to the entrepreneur. So what is it? What is the limiting beliefs that we've inherited? And what can we do to keep growing? So lifelong learning, in my opinion, is the gateway to success. And I will tell you why during this little presentation. And I've been reflecting on what lifelong learning means to me. So for me, lifelong learning, this is my personal description now, is the desire to acquire new knowledge, skills and experiences that will enhance my life and that of those around me, leading to further acquisition of knowledge, skills and experiences. Now, this is a kind of ever-ascending spiral. The more you want to learn, the more you do learn, the more you do and the more action you take, the more you need to learn and the more you grow and develop. And I'm sure you get the gist of this. I did ask ChatGPT the same question as well, and it gave me a somewhat more wordy explanation of it. It said lifelong learning is a continuous, voluntary and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. It extends beyond traditional education frameworks and emphasizes the ongoing, evolving acquisition of skills and knowledge throughout an individual's life. Now, the one part that I really did like about that is the last line of that. So when we talk about the ongoing and evolving acquisition of skills throughout an individual's life. So what does this mean and why is it important? Let's think for a moment. Now, for most of human history on planet Earth, the majority of scientists, philosophers and population believed that we lived on a flat Earth. Around 2,000 years ago, scientific opinion began to change. But it took another 1,500 years for that idea to go mainstream. Now, in the 21st century, some people are again talking about the world being flat, but I'm definitely not having that conversation here today. So let's talk about some other ideas that are outdated now. In the 1980s, government advice in the event of a nuclear Armageddon was to take your doors off and hide under your doors. Can you imagine it? Even a 7-year-old knows the stupidity of that now. This was when I was a child still, so not that long ago. Honestly, not that long ago. Okay, it was also definite scientific fact in the 1980s that the smallest particles known to man were neutrons, protons and electrons, the bits that circle the nucleus of an atom. And that theory took nearly 2,000 years to come to a reality as well. Within 20 years of that being discovered, they've now discovered something even smaller, and those smaller things are called quarks. Now, who knows where the future will go with that? But the point is, you need to keep an open mind. I believe everything will go smaller and smaller and smaller, and we'll keep finding new things. But we need to be able to keep an open mind and be able to keep ability to develop and adapt live and going there. But some ideas are so ingrained into our psyche, we believe they're true, whether there is any foundation with them or not. And it can take hundreds or even thousands of years for the values and beliefs that we've grown up with in our society to change and adapt to the world we actually live in. Even in the days of instant information, people can be very resistant to taking on new ideas and challenging their own worldviews. Some of these ideas can have a profound negative impact on your life and hold you back if you don't take action to change them. So let's examine just some of the outdated beliefs that have held us back. And do you say any of these to your children? Or do you say these to your parents? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Now, this is a saying. I want to know if you guys have ever heard of this, if you ever said it. If you have, put it in the chat, give a thumbs up, whatever. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's an old saying. It's been around for a long time. But if you believe this, you are, of course, correct. You'll stick at your current level of expertise, your current world knowledge, your current understanding of life. You'll stay there, really, until you die. You could, even if you don't die immediately, your course of action will actually, cause your brain to contract, and it will cause you to have different, it will cause your brain to recede. And your body adapts to different ways of thinking. Now, if you're that kind of person, and you don't want to learn, I suggest you leave right now. There's no point in being here, is there really? You definitely don't want to start your own business, and you definitely want to keep updating yourself. Well, hopefully, most of you are still here. I always get nervous at this point, but since you're still here, I hope you think the saying is a load of old nonsense. If you do, you're also right. But do you get excited by learning? Do you get excited by audiobooks, by reading books, by videos, by picking up something new? Do you seek out interesting, insightful conversations with other people? Here's the thing: whenever you're learning something new, but more than that, when you learn something new, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain. That's connecting two parts of the brain that haven't been connected before. And the more you do the thing you just learned, the stronger those pathways become. And you have time and energy spending thinking about it. You spend less time as you do that thing more often. So it's a bit like learning to drive. It's really hard to start with, and after a while you do it automatically. If you go to the gym just once, nothing will happen. If you keep repeating and learning the thing you're trying to learn, then those pathways will get stronger and you'll build up your muscle memory. But there are genuinely no age limits on acquiring new skills and knowledge. You're really never too old to learn. So what's the next myth that we come up with? The next myth is we only use 5% of our brain. Now, again, this is something that we've been told multiple times, 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever it is, how many of you have actually heard of this? How many of you have been told that? How many of you actually think this is a fact? Did you know recently there have been scientific studies done that it's identified that there isn't 1 single % of a human brain that can be removed without having a serious detrimental effect on the person? Not 1%. So what this means is you use 100% of your brain all the time. However, what it doesn't mean is that your brain can't grow. So your brain can get bigger, it can get smaller. So the more you learn, the more you do things, the more you create these new neural pathways. And it's called neuroplasticity. Plasticity, sorry, difficult word to say there. But your brain can grow. It actually gets more dense, it gets heavier, it gets more intricate as you learn more new things. But whatever you do, don't believe you're only using 5, 10, 15% of your brain. This goes back to an old thinking that we can always be better, we can do more, we can be a superhero, we can be like Iron Man. The reality is that we have the capability right now. All we have to do is use it. So what's myth number 3? Myth number 3: the brain stops developing after 25 years old. Now, this was another thing that I grew up with. It's so when I was growing up, I grew up in the 80s. The philosophy was that you get to 25, that's your peak time in your life. After 25, your brain starts dying off, the cells start dying off, and you get more and more decrepit as time gets older. Hopefully, you don't believe that. No, that's an old thing. And what has replaced that now is a theory called neurogenesis. So neurogenesis is a process by which new neurons are formed in the brain. This process was once believed to occur only during prenatal age, when you're in baby development. But recent research has shown that it continues throughout life, particularly in specific brain regions like the hippocampus, which is critical for learning and memory. Neurogenesis involves several stages, including the division of neural stem cells, etc., etc. You get the message there. The next one, number 4, learning happens at school. Now, the reality is, how many of you enjoyed school? So a quick show of hands. Did you enjoy school? Did you learn at school? You may have done a bit, possibly. However, did most of the things that you know now get taught to you at school, college, or university? Probably doubtful, isn't it? It's probably doubtful. I think it's safe to say that most of us, we have learned far more from leaving school through our own passions, our own interests, than we ever did there. We also have now access to more information than we ever did at any point in human history. The question is, are you open to using it? And the final one, knowledge is power. And again, this was a massive thing when I was at university in the 90s. You know, that knowledge is power. You'll get to do whatever you want in the world. You get to go as far as you want to. I know that all you have to do is learn stuff and you'll be powerful and you'll know everything. Well, what we know now, the very fact that we have all the information in the world at our fingertips, more information now than we can possibly absorb. And then, in fact, we're so bombarded by information that we cannot absorb it all. So what we need to know here, so knowledge isn't power. The application of knowledge, putting knowledge into action, is where the true power comes. Right? And that is where you need to be looking at. The most important thing for you as an entrepreneur and a human being, whatever you're doing, is to keep learning, keep doing, learn some more, do some more, take some unstoppable action, and just keep on going, keep moving forward, and keep building. Well, thanks for listening to me today.